Hey guys, my name is Amanda, and today's video topic is going to be yoga. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then we're going to get into doing some actual yoga exercises in a little bit. So, practicing yoga is great for working on our own balance, and not only our balance, but also our flexibility. Flexibility is something that the majority of the population actually lack in. It's not something that we typically think about incorporating into our workout routines, but it's really easy to start doing. You can either do yoga when you wake up in the morning, or you can even end your day by doing yoga right before you go to bed. So flexibility is increased when we develop a greater range of motions of our joints. This is done through sustained flexion and contraction of our muscles, and that is basically what yoga is holding multiple different exercises or positions. Working on our balance and flexibility also comes with multiple health benefits. Having balance makes it easier to move and overall increases our ability to control itself during challenging tasks. Also, an increase in flexibility can help us with multiple things such as improve our mobility, our posture, muscle coordination, as well as overall reducing our risk of injuries, which is really important, especially as we continue to age. Alright, so with all that being said, I am going to go and show you some different yoga movements that you can do, as well as some modifications for those movements. So we can make these specific movements easier or even harder based on what you feel comfortable doing for yourself personally. So let's get on with the exercises. Alright, as you can see, it's a little bit of a change of scenery. But before we start doing these yoga movements, I would suggest that you put down something cushiony on the floor that you can do these movements on, just because the hard floor might be a little bit tough on your joints and your muscles. So what I have here on my floor is just a exercise mat. You can, if you do have a yoga mat, obviously use that. Otherwise, you can always put down like a cushiony blanket or some towels just to give a little bit of a barrier in between that hard ground and yourself. So let's get on with our exercises. We're going to start off a little bit on the more easier side and then work our way into a harder difficulty. So with this first exercise, it's pretty well known. It's called the Cobra. So this is going to help increase our strength and our flexibility of our back muscles. So to start off the Cobra, we are going to lay flat on our stomach, and we would like our legs to be hip width apart, so making sure that it's hip width apart down there, and then our palms are going to be flat on the ground right by our ribs, and our elbows are going to be in towards our ribs and not out like wing shaped. So once we have that, we are going to pull our shoulder blades back and lift our chest up like this, and we're going to hold this position for 30 seconds. And when you're doing this exercise, you should be able to have your palms not being pushed up, but you should be able to hold them out like this. And that way you know you're doing it correctly. And as you do this exercise more, the higher you're going to be able to lift your chest off of the ground and increase that overall flexibility in your back. Alright, so once you have done 30 seconds, you can relax. The next exercise that we are going to be doing is the bound angle movement. This also is sometimes referred to as a butterfly stretch. For this one, I do have a lower level modification, and that does require the use of yoga blocks. So first I'm going to start off the normal movement, and then I'm going to do the lower level modification second. So what we want to do is we're going to sit in the butterfly positioning. You want your feet together, and you're going to put your hands on your big toes, and you're going to pull your feet in. While you're doing this, you're using your elbows to push your knees down, and you want to bring your chest towards the ground. When doing this, you want to make sure that you are not rounding your back. You want to make sure that you are going at a straight angle, and you're going to, while pushing on your knees and pulling in your feet towards your stomach and pulling your chest downwards, you're going to be holding this for 30 seconds. Now, if you can't bring your knees down far and you're struggling with that, you can add in the yoga blocks to make it a little bit easier. So what you're going to do, put your feet together and you're going to put the yoga blocks under your knees. So that way you're kind of fold into this position. You still pull on your big toes, bring that towards your stomach, and you're going to still push on your knees with your elbows and bring your chest forward, keeping that straight back and making sure that you're not rounding your back. The yoga blocks kind of act as a anchor for your legs, so that way you're not as in much pain. You still want to feel a kind of a stretching feeling. You want to hold this for 30 seconds. And then as you continue to do this stretch, you can eventually move the yoga blocks and you'll be able to bring your knees closer to the ground the more that you do it. The next movement that we're going to be doing is called the downward dog, and I also have a lower level modification using the yoga blocks for this one as well. So what we're going to do is start by standing up. It's kind of like a V position that we are going to be making. The goal is you want your back to be at a straight angle. You don't want to round it like that. You want to keep it at a straight position. And you also want to try and get your heels flat to the ground and keeping your legs straight. If this is too difficult, you can always bend your legs a little bit, but work towards digging your heels to the ground and getting your legs straight. We're going to hold this for 30 seconds. And then the lower modification using the blocks, we're going to place these where our hands would be. And instead of having our hands on the mat, they're going to be placed on the yoga blocks. And by doing this, it's going to help balance out the weight distribution from your upper to your lower body. So it's going to be the exact same thing. Like this. Make sure you try and dig your heels to the ground and get your legs straight. You can also bend your knees slightly if you cannot, if you're not that flexible. And then you're going to hold that for 30 seconds. This next exercise is really good if you are really tight in your hip area. It is called the garland pose. It's almost like a sumo squat. So we are going to first stand up. We are going to have our heels pointed inwards, our toes out, and we are going to squat down low. We are going to use our elbows to push on our knees outward. We are going to put our palms together to pull our chest forward a little bit. We want to try and sink down as low as we can. So this movement might be a little bit tough for people who are tight in their hips and have tender ankles and knees. And if that is the case, we can make a modification for this movement. So we're going to bring in our yoga blocks. If you do have those issues, we're going to put them in between your feet, and it's going to be used as a support, so that way you don't sink as low to the ground. And we're still going to use our elbows to push our knees out and bring our chest towards our palms. We're going to hold this for 30 seconds. And the more that you do this, eventually you'll be able to strengthen your hip and your knees, and then you can eventually, hopefully, be able to remove the yoga blocks and sink lower into this position. Next, we are going to do a position called Warrior 3. This one I'm going to show 3 different levels that we can do. I'm going to start off with the easiest modification, then do medium, and then attempt to do the hard modification for this pose. So we're going to first stand up, and I have it set up already over here. We're going to be using our yoga blocks. We're going to step with one foot right behind and make sure that it's centered in between the two blocks. The goal here is not to lean all your weight on the blocks during this pose. They're just there to help with balance. So we're going to kick our other leg straight back and hopefully have it parallel to the ground. We're going to flex all the way through our toes, using our blocks as a balancing system. I'll hold this for 30 seconds and then switch legs. And then to make this a little bit more difficult, we can remove the blocks. And we're going to put our hands together like this and it's going to pull our chest forward when we hold our leg outward. See, here I am struggling with this, so I would personally use the blocks. And then to make that even harder, instead of having your hands together, pulling your chest forward, you're going to actually put your hands out kind of like a Superman movement. So here, I'll attempt this. And when you're doing that exercise, you want to make sure that you are looking straight forward and then making sure that your leg is completely parallel and flexing all the way through your whole leg to your toes. This is going to be our last exercise that we are going over. This is called the tree pose. And I also have multiple modifications made for this pose as well. First, I'm going to start off with the highest level of difficulty and then work my way to the easiest level of difficulty. So what we are going to do first is we are going to stand on one leg, and we are going to bring our opposite leg up onto our other leg, so the flat part of your foot onto the inside of your leg, and your arms are going to come together like this. And it's going to be working a lot on your balance of the foot that is on the ground. Now you want to make sure that you are looking forward and you're taking deep breaths, and you're going to hold this position for 30 seconds on each leg. If you struggle with balance, we're going to add in a yoga block to make this a little bit less difficult. So what you can do is going to place the yoga block down next to your foot on the inside. You can place it the tall way or you can place it the flat way. So I'll place it the tall way first. What you're going to use it as a balance for your other foot. You're going to kind of put your toes a little bit on it. Don't put all of your weight onto the block, just your toes. Same thing, your foot is going to go up against your other leg, and your hands are going to come together like this. You can also put the block all the way down. This makes it the easiest modification. Hold it like that. And that is it for all of our exercises today. Lastly, we're going to end with a cool down. Yoga doesn't raise your heart rate too much, but we still want to incorporate a cool down to help us relax all our muscles that we were just stretching. So we're going to just do a few cool down exercises. The first one is we need to find a wall, and we're going to lay up against the wall with our legs on the wall. So I'll do a quick demonstration of that. Alright, So you're going to sit there and hold that for about 30 seconds. You also want to make sure that your butt is up against towards the wall as close as it can go. The next cool down exercise that we are going to be doing is called the corpse pose. So what you're going to do is just completely lay on flat on your back and have your palms facing up towards the ceiling. This helps to release any effort from holding your limbs in a position. So you're just going to relax your whole body, including your face. So it's just going to look something like this. And you're going to hold this for about 30 seconds. You want to really focus on your breathing while doing these cool down exercises as well. And then the last cool down exercise that we're going to do is called the easy pose. So you're going to just sit cross-legged like this. You're going to have your hands placed on your knees, and you're going to want to slide your shoulder blades down your back and away from your ears. And also make sure that you have a straight back and really good posture while doing this, and focus on your breathing as well. And then you're going to do this for about 30 seconds. Once you do the cool down exercises, then your whole workout is complete. So nice work, guys. Overall, incorporating these few short yoga poses into your weekly routine is going to help you to increase your balance as well as improve your flexibility. By doing this, you're going to benefit from all of those great health benefits that I previously talked about in the beginning of the video. So try it 3 days a week, incorporate these yoga poses, and you won't regret it. Hey guys, my name is Amanda, and today's video topic is going to be yoga. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then we're going to get into doing some actual yoga exercises in a little bit. So, practicing yoga is great for working on our own balance, and not only our balance, but also our flexibility. Flexibility is something that the majority of the population actually lack in. It's not something that we typically think about incorporating into our workout routines, but it's really easy to start doing. You can either do yoga when you wake up in the morning, or you can even end your day by doing yoga right before you go to bed. So flexibility is increased when we develop a greater range of motions of our joints. This is done through sustained flexion and contraction of our muscles, and that is basically what yoga is holding multiple different exercises or positions. Working on our balance and flexibility also comes with multiple health benefits. Having balance makes it easier to move and overall increases our ability to control itself during challenging tasks. Also, an increase in flexibility can help us with multiple things such as improve our mobility, our posture, muscle coordination, as well as overall reducing our risk of injuries, which is really important, especially as we continue to age.